Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks for tuning in again. It is podcast time, and today is Tuesday, the 17th of June, and I'll be talking about the energies for this week. Started yesterday, Monday, the 16th, until Sunday, the 22nd of June. And yes, I'm a bit nasally, something's going on. But anyway, I'm here and excited and enthusiastic to share what's going on in the sky, in the psychological imprint, and how we are stirred and navigated this week. And so, what I'm going to talk about, it's an interesting week in a sense that I feel this week is more, it feels like almost like a preparation for what's to come next week with the new moon in the sign of Cancer, with this week's solstice, which is exciting, the winter solstice here in the southern hemisphere, the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. So yeah, I feel it's sort of, yeah, it's the energies are quite a mix. There is a feisty fierceness, abruptness, endings. Also, yeah, we still have the ongoing, of course, the square between Jupiter and Saturn, and then also Jupiter coming into square with Neptune. So that's a big deal. I'll be talking about that. We have Venus is still moving through the sign of Taurus in her own rulership, where she will be till early July. When's that? Yeah, till the 4th of July. She will be moving into the sign of Gemini, a mutable sign. So yeah, let's get started here. So today, 17th, what are we looking at? So the sun is still in the sign of Gemini, the last 4 days in the mutable sign of Gemini before the sun, yeah, before we are reaching the middle of the year, which is quite a big deal. It is solstice time. And that's going to happen here on the 21st of June when the sun moves into the sign of Cancer. And that's a big deal. It also, yeah, it signifies here in the southern hemisphere, it's the shortest day. The shortest, yeah, the shortest day, the longest night. Um, Here in the southern hemisphere, where the sun is at its lowest point in the sky. In the northern hemisphere, we have the longest day, and yes, it's the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, and the sun reaches its highest point in the sky. So also, as this is a midpoint, it's also with the sun moving into Cancer, it's a whole new way for us to initiate a new journey. We are reflecting and looking back, and I feel we're preparing for this shift this week with the sun moving into Cancer. I feel it has a there is a reflective quality. There is also quite a fierce, feisty, almost aggressive quality as well, with yeah, with Mars being now at the last degree of Leo. And so there's some potent energies unfolding here that are, of course, taking us further, that are keeping us, inviting us to be very present, to feel into where am I heading, what is my heart's desire. And ever since we've had Jupiter moving into the sign of Cancer, which only, just quickly go back when that happened. That's right, that was on the 10th of June. So only a week ago, we had Jupiter after 12 years moving back into the sign of Cancer, where Jupiter is exalted. So there is already, I feel, for the last week, maybe we've been experiencing new opportunities, possibilities coming our way, also more internalized. There is something about acknowledging our feelings, being on yeah, that inward journey again of self-nurture, of coming back to ourselves. And also I feel it's such an expansive quality of our inner world that needs to be acknowledged, where we need to cultivate the trust and faith in in the future, in the here and now, and how we want to show up in the now. It's very benevolent. We also still have Mercury in the sign of Cancer. And also, there is a smoothness, there is a gentleness in the air this week. And before I just have a quick look ahead, Mercury moves very swiftly and will move into Leo on the 27th of June. So, still another about 10 days to go with Mercury in the sign of Cancer, which then 27th of June will be another big shift towards a greater having the loudest roar, while right now we are not. Well, still with Mars in Leo, we do have a very loud roar. But when it comes to communications, I feel there is a beautiful empathetic quality. There is, yeah, a deep understanding of meeting one another as equals, and that nurturing ourselves, our journey, and one another. And as we're looking at the personal planets, so Mercury is still in the sign of Cancer, just, yeah, moving away from a beautiful sextile from Venus. It's been, yeah, there's been a lot of alignment in our conversations, in our sharings of ideas, and how we interact with our community, with one another. And so Venus still in the sign of Taurus at 10 degrees. So that's beautiful, very sensual till the 5th of July. So we're still indulging in the Venusian, within the Venusian realms, with she's about Venus is in Taurus. She's slow, steady, consistent, grounded. Um, Very connected with the senses, loves good food, loves anything that's nurturing the physical form. Whether it's a beautiful massage, touch, and yeah, food for the soul, food for our body, nourishment. And also Venus in Taurus also highlights finances. It is about our worthiness, value system, how we connect with what we own, how we our possessions. So there's also, I feel, if we tuning into finances, any kind of money themes, if we want to generate more income, now is a really good time to feel into that, to do beautiful rituals around our worthiness, our values, and 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 while money is an energy, it's there for us, and there's a lot out there, and it's very tied in to our worthiness, how we feel about ourselves, and and there's a lot of, I feel also a lot of conditioning around all of that, where we maybe work around deservedness. What do I think that I deserve, or what is my own narrative around that? And also now is a really good time. I mean, it always is to see a beautiful holistic practitioner that can help us bring more balance into our wholeness, into our worthiness of love, worthiness of existence. And so yes, that's Venus. And looking at Venus, we need to look at Mars as well. And so Mars in the sign, Mars, that's a big deal right now. Mars is leaving the sign of Leo, and Mars loves being in Leo. There is, yeah, the warm-hearted, fiery energy that Mars loves to be in. There is also an impulsiveness. There is a bit of the center stage feel, maybe want to be seen. Um, so, but also very creative. There's a playfulness with Mars in Leo. And today, Mars is moving later on this evening. Mars is moving into Virgo and will stay there till early August, till about the 6th of August. So, we're gonna get a really long window here, a big window with Mars moving through the sign of Virgo, which I feel is a really big deal because if you remember, we had Mars retrograde forever, it seems. Mars retrograding or Mars being in the sign of Cancer, then retrograding back into Cancer, a little window in Leo, going back in Cancer for a while and then direct again through Cancer, through Leo. So this Cancer Leo deal has been going on since last year, about September. Crazy. It's been what's that? Like 6, 9 months almost. Mars in the sign of Cancer and Leo because of that retrograde. And now Mars is leaving that whole scene, all the lessons we've had also over the last 9 months of Cancer Leo Mars, which was a really deep dive again into our will, our assertion, again, our creative self-expression, wanting to go forward, maybe feeling like a universal foot on the brakes. And so we've gone through a lot. And now today, Mars later on moves into the sign of Virgo. I just go a day ahead. So tomorrow, already this evening, Mars enters the sign ruled by Mercury. And so that's a big shift of energies as well. But before I want to talk about that, if we're looking, so we also, what's happening later today, we will have Uranus. Uranus is only a minute away from moving into the last degree of Taurus. So we have a Mars at the last degree, we have a Uranus at the last degree, and they are in a square. And there is intensity, there is sudden shifts, changes, epiphanies, breakthroughs, breakups, reactivity. They're both, Mars is explosive. Uranus is the lightning strike, so there can be quite an explosive, volatile energy if we are not careful. Or it's also really advisable not to rush anywhere, being on time. And if we're late, just let the people know and still drive beneath, among the limit. And so it's critical. Whenever a planet is at the critical degree point, it's about self-mastery. What are we learning here? And I feel Mars at the last degree of Leo for until later this evening, it's a our creative self-expression. There is tension between how do I want to assert myself? How do I want to show up in the world? How can I tune into my heart's desires, be playful, childlike, joyful, the warmth of the heart? Um, and then how can I express that? There is also Uranus is the revolutionary. It's about liberation, freedom, breaking free from the norm, the status quo. I'm no longer censoring myself. I don't give a shit. We are equals. It's very artistic. It's really out there. And I love Aquarian energy. I love the Uranian spin because there is a foresightedness. There is, yeah, it's questioning authority. And also I feel like with Mars in Leo and everything that's going on also with Saturn, the square from Saturn to Jupiter, it has to do with authorities. And I feel there is something about that where and because also this Uranus is moving into a sextile, which is a very positive aspect with Saturn. And there is something about authorities being claiming your inner own authority. I am the author of my life. What do I want? How do I want to direct my life? Mars in Leo is big and bold. We are courageous. Core rage, courage. Also with Chiron in Aries, together with Aries, the suppressed feminine, the healing of the wounded masculine. There is tension inside. There is an urge to break free from old constraints, from a sense of, yeah, I don't want to be held back any longer. And a lot of the time, of course, it's our self-talk, conditioned ways of being. And I feel it's so important to be non-judgmental. Whatever wants to arise, it's important to let it out, let it rip in a healthy way, and to move that energy through the body. So Mars moving into the sign of Virgo later on till early August will shift from that impulsiveness towards a discernment. Virgo likes to discern, is yeah, is precise. Also, it's an earth sign. We are also connected to our health, well-being, being of service to another. Mars in Virgo loves being of service, not in a sacrificial way, but also the beautiful thing is now, as Mars enters Virgo till early August, is a great window of time to tidy up loose ends, declutter, being precise, being simplifying life, and particularly Uranus in the last sign, a degree of Taurus, it has a simplification invitation here. Um, yeah, the more Zen we can live, the better. Zen meaning being organized, but not in a nerdy way. We don't want to be rigid. We want to discern. Yeah, and maybe it could be a great time. Okay, what do I want? What do I no longer need? What can I get rid of? And really, yeah, downsizing. I feel that there is an energy that's helping us to downsize, which clears our mind, which also makes things a lot easier. The path of least resistance, I feel, is towards simplicity. The more we clutter our surroundings, the more we clutter our brain, and vice versa. And if we create Venus in Taurus, Venusian beauty, an aesthetically pleasing environment that nurtures every sense of our being, our soul, and with Mars in the sign of Virgo, we are really, and also Mars in Virgo is then in a trine, in a beautiful flow with Venus. So they are teaching one another, the masculine, feminine. So this is great to, yeah, to be precise, to organize, to make plans, to work on a project, and yes, being of service, to look after our health and well-being, really important. Virgo is the sign that rules the area of our well-being, health, daily rituals, what is serving me, my diet, what am I doing that is no longer serving me, and excuse me. Um, and with Mars in that area is, yeah, how do I assert myself? What can I do? It's about, um, yeah, Mars is about our doingness, how we, excuse me, I need to get a tissue, should have been prepared. Um, And yeah, so it's a beautiful shift, excuse me, a beautiful shift into an earth sign after those 8.5 months of Mars moving back and forth through Cancer, frustration, and then finally opening up into Leo, where I'm sure we've all been feeling the energy moving forward, which is, yeah, that's great, and we will keep moving forward. And maybe we're also gonna ask the work that we do in the world, how we share our gifts. I feel like a lot of us are on the verge to change, to move into question, what is my calling, what am I doing, that I've been feeling like it's no longer aligned for me. And so that's also this Mars in Virgo is helping us to discern, to feel into, um, and also to do what's healthy for me, what's no longer. Is this everyday, my everyday doings, my rituals, are they supportive? Because right now, with so much earth energy, our bodies are very, very much highlighted here. Um, and yeah, because yeah, I'm just looking here because, yeah, with our bodies are in the forefront, and any kind of imbalance, what's not aligned, sometimes we get, our body shows us where we need to tweak things, or where we are discharged, where we're charged too much and need to find greater balance and more of an equilibrium. So very important and beautiful shift I feel with Mars in the sign of Virgo. Yep. What else is going on? So the other thing is, and I think I touched on that also last time or in a couple of previous podcasts, is that square from Jupiter to Saturn and Neptune. And the cool thing is, so if we track it back in time, Jupiter lined up with Saturn at 0 degrees of Aquarius on in December, I think it was 21st of December 2021. That's when Jupiter and Saturn met. And now, after where we are at now, 4.5 years later, Jupiter is, or however much, or 4 years later, roughly a bit more than 4 years, Jupiter is in the square to Saturn, and that square is really crucial. And I feel we're gonna feel that within. So this is again a call towards action. There is a push and a pull. Saturn wants to remain in the old. We are linear. We are sort of comfortable where we are. There is restrictions often, and it's interesting with Saturn that there's often a lot of negativity around Saturn because it's the planet that says no, and there's restrictions and limitations and hard work. And so I feel, but Mar and Saturn moving has moved into Aries. A whole new 30-year cycle started recently, and I feel we're really again claiming our authority. What is it that I want in Aries? It's about me, my I amness. And again, how can I be the author of my life? How can I be present without being rigid or without falling back into the past? Saturn is about past lives, it's karmic, it's the elder, and I feel there can be this push and pull between past and future. And what am I holding on to? What am I ready to shed? And now with Jupiter in Cancer, Jupiter is the biggest planet, most gaseous, expansive. There is an journey through our feeling world, a deep connection with the feelings, and also a forward moving faith in the future. It's expansive. So we can visualize or feel where the tension can be with Saturn. Saturn is restrictive. It's um yeah, it's yeah, restricting and constraining and being refined. And then Jupiter wants to expand and go beyond the familiar, go beyond the known, and with great faith, being a pilgrim. So we can already sense that there's maybe inner turmoil, push and pull. Stuck with the old, stuck with an old job. Should I stay there? Am I still there because for the money? Or can I work while I'm still maybe at that job, work on my greater visions, move it forward, and maybe it doesn't have to be like a bold, an immediate cut, but I feel this Jupiter is really sort of taking us out of the mold, taking us out of anything where we have become rigid, where we are confining ourselves, where we are defining ourselves as part of also maybe systems and structures that are really no longer serving us or maybe never have. And then also this Jupiter is also coming into a square to Neptune. It's about our belief systems. It's about, I feel like bringing the sacred into the mundane. There is also an expansive quality. And so I really feel there is, yeah, a great sense of that, a spirituality embodied. We are soul with a body, not a body with a soul. So I feel that's my belief anyway. Um, yeah, so there's a lot happening. And in the sign of Aries, it's initiating and it's only the beginning. We might feel that urge, the impatience to move forward fast, but I feel we will be feeling the constriction and the expansion. And I have to think about craniosacral therapy, which I'm also practicing, where there is a beautiful flow between the in-breath and the out-breath, the breath of life that is moving inside of us. There is, and we need both. We need the yeah, the expansiveness, and then we need to come to self. We want to be out in the world, and then we want to come back within us. So I feel it's about finding that beautiful balance and being very nurturing and honest, true to ourselves. And I just wanted to read out the 29-degree point of Uranus, which is really crucial. And Uranus will be sitting there not for long until July. And then we're going to have the big Uranian shift into Gemini on the 8th of July. So this is also huge. And I'll be talking about that soon. And that's where, um, yeah, that's a whole new energy there. Anyway, 29-degree points of Taurus. And I'm reading out of my beautiful book by Dane Rudhyar, An Astrological Mandala. And he talks about, which I find really interesting, a peacock parading on the terrace of an old castle. I really like that. He says a great person able to display a multitude of gifts is always, at one level or another, the consummation of a long past of effort and victories. As a great occultist once wrote, adepts are the flowering of their races and cultures. The peacock is the bird consecrated to Venus. In occult tradition, the Promethean spirits who gave the animal mankind the divine gift of self-conscious intelligence had come from Venus, which may or may not refer to the physical planet we can observe in the sky. I just love that beautiful relation to the peacock and the Venusian. Also, that we have Venus in her own sign of Taurus and Uranus at the last degree of a Venusian ruled sign. So there's a lot of feminine beauty. We have the auspicious animal of the peacock, the bird consecrated to Venus. And in occult tradition, the Promethean spirits who gave to animal mankind the divine gift of self-conscious intelligence. So I really like that because there's this emphasis on consciousness, on also a very embodied consciousness. And Uranus is spirit. So I really feel until early July, the 6th of July, when Uranus moves into Gemini, there is a portal. I love the word portal. I like portals. I usually miss them and then like, well, I missed another portal, but there's always another portal, which is cool. And I like the 29-degree portal because it's our ultimate embodiment. It's bringing spirit into our mundane world, into the sacredness of this temple. And yeah, I really like that, and also the consciousness of humankind, whether it's related to the actual planet Venus or not. But I feel, and also Venus also rules, yeah, rules Taurus, but also the cerebral quality of Libra. So there is Venus um, Pandemos, and there's Venus Uranus. And I find so there's quite something and mythologically that weaves through that we're really, yeah, it's a huge embodiment. And maybe we can move it through our body and feel the sensuality. And interestingly enough, that portal closes pretty much around the same time. When Venus, oh yeah, I'm just seeing that now because Venus, before Venus moves into Gemini, she will high five Uranus at 29 degrees on the 4th of July. So that's pretty amazing. And only like a day later, Venus moves into Gemini, and then Uranus moves into Gemini, and then we close that portal. And another portal opens. Here you go, the cyclical nature of our beingness. All right, that's about it from me. I have to blow my nose. And thanks so much for listening to my crackly voice and so much appreciation. I love to hear from you. And this coming week, yeah, we're gonna have the new moon in Cancer next week. I'll be launching my website and I'll be sharing that with you and sending lots of love your way. Have a beautiful week. Bye for now.